This is Celine Duke-Roya here in the studio. Great to see you, as always.
Hi, Mark.
France's TotalEnergies has struck a major partnership deal with the Czech billionaire Daniel Kretinsky. Tell us more.
Well, the French energy giant is buying a stake in Kretinsky's power generation business in an all-stock deal that would also make the Czech billionaire one of the largest shareholders of the French company. Total will acquire 50% of the Czech firm EPH's Western European power plant business. The newly created joint venture will manage power plants across Italy, Britain, Ireland, the Netherlands and France with a total capacity of 14 gigawatts. The energy giant will issue 5.1 billion euros worth of new shares to pay for the deal, resulting in EPH owning about 4.1% of the French company. This makes the company controlled by Kretinsky TotalEnergies' third largest shareholder. The Czech billionaire has been buying up businesses across Europe in energy, retail and media. He has stakes in Britain's Royal Mail, France's supermarket chain Casino and West Ham Football Club, among a host of others.
Indeed, fingers in many pies, so to speak. Moving on, Ukraine says it will buy 100 Rafale jets from France.
Yeah, that big announcement coming from Volodymyr Zelensky and Emmanuel Macron as they met, as they hailed a historic deal, agreeing for Ukraine to buy a host of French military hardware over the next decade. As well as Rafale jets, potential purchases include 8 new generation SAMP-T air defense systems, drones, guided bombs and launchers. Although it's a political agreement and not a commercial deal, they say it will come next. If it happens, though, an order of 100 Rafales would be the largest from a single country ever. The plane's manufacturer Dassault thanked the Ukrainian and French authorities for their declaration. The company's shares rose as much as 7% on Monday before closing the day up 4.6%, as you can see there, Mark.
So, a huge order. How much will 100 Rafale fighter jets cost?
Well, no figures were announced today, and fighter jet prices vary a lot. Now, one bare-bones Rafale is estimated to cost between 70 and 100 million euros, so 100 of them would amount to around 10 billion euros. But no one buys fighter jets without any weapons on board, so the actual cost would be much higher. To get an idea, a huge order back in 2021 of 80 previous generation Rafales by the United Arab Emirates totaled a record 14 billion euros. Earlier this year, India ordered 26 Rafale marine jets for 6.5 billion euros. International deals, though, usually involve training pilots and maintenance, and those additional services make each jet considerably more expensive than for the French military, which last year placed an order for 42 fifth-generation jets for 5 billion euros, Mark.
5 billion euros. So from that, where do we go?
It's not clear how Kyiv, that's the big question. I mean, how will Kyiv pay for all that? And it's not clear where it gets the necessary funding for that, given that President Zelensky has also signed a letter of intent to buy 100 to 150 Swedish fighter jets. The French presidential office says the aim is to finance it with EU programs and the use of frozen Russian assets. Currently, around 200 billion euros owned by Russia's central bank are being held in Europe, mostly in Belgium-based Euroclear. EU members have yet to agree on a plan to use 140 billion euros from that in loans to Ukraine, though the bloc has been using since last year the interest on the frozen assets amounting to about 3 billion euros a year to support Ukraine.
It is a phenomenal amount of money, Yuka, isn't it, the whole thing? And as you say, it could be one of the biggest deal of its kind if it eventually goes through, when it eventually goes through. Let's turn to Asia. A diplomatic spat between China, is hitting Japan's crucial tourism sector.
Well, Japanese retailers and tourism operators are on edge after China warned its citizens against travelling to the country. That warning came after new Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi suggested that her country might be compelled to intervene militarily if China were to invade nearby Taiwan. Takaichi has long been seen as a China hawk, but the two countries are major trading partners, and Japan relies on Chinese visitors for nearly a third of its tourism revenues. Gabrielle Nedler has the story.
Crowds at Mount Fuji and the Sensoji Temple may get a lot smaller. China has warned its citizens against traveling to Japan amid rising tensions between the two East Asian countries. Given China is the biggest source of Japan's tourist market, the warning's economic hit promises to be significant.
My personal view is that since the government has said to avoid Japan, then it's best to go less.
Nearly 7.5 million Chinese tourists went to Japan from January to September of 2025, according to Japan's National Tourism Bureau. In the third quarter, these visitors accounted for 28% of international tourist spending, with 590 billion yen, or $3.8 billion. The travel warning was issued following Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi's comments on Taiwan. She said if China were to use force around Taiwan, it could constitute a survival-threatening situation for her country, which would permit a military response. Faced with economic and diplomatic strain from the tourism warning, Japan hopes to de-escalate the situation.
I believe this announcement, which seems to curtail the exchange of people between the two countries, including study abroad and tourism, is incompatible with the broad direction of promoting a strategic, mutually beneficial relationship confirmed by the leaders and building a constructive and stable relationship.
Senior Japanese diplomat Masaki Kanai is set to travel to China Monday for talks with his Chinese counterpart Liu Jinsong, reported Japanese media. Kanai is expected to affirm that Takaichi's comments do not change Japan's traditional position on Taiwan, which has been marked by ambiguity.
And that's it from the business desk.
Yuka, thank you very much indeed. Yuka back with more business later this evening. Thanks again.